Got a treat for these guys this morning. Morning, boys and girls. I think we got both in here. Okay. Looks like the water's done. It moves a lot faster this time of year, especially when the rice farmers turn their water off. My water goes a lot faster. They're acting like they think they're gonna move pastures right now. Not yet. I've been working on this corral project pretty steadily, I would say, for the last month or so. And today I think I can finally get it done. All that's left to do is I need to make some hinge pieces in the shop, get them welded onto the post here, and get the gate hung up, and then I think we're done. Also, I saw in the shop I've got some wood stains, so I thought we'll go ahead and slap some of that on the table here to hopefully make this last a little bit longer. But it's wood, it won't last forever. Lots to do, so we better get after it. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. It's pretty good right there. It's not perfect, but it's perfect enough. These are the two hinge pieces that will ultimately hang this gate on the gate frame down at the ranch. I've kind of stuck with this same design or a very similar design throughout all the gates that I've built because this is simple, it's easy, and I've been pretty happy with it. We've got a little tab here that will end up welding to the gate frame itself, and then a collar that's the same size as the tube on the gate. I put a collar on bottom and on top on this gate because we have grease fittings. This will kind of help keep the grease contained where we want it to be. And the way these work is the pin just slides into the gate, and then, like I said, this part will weld onto the gate frame. So that should be all of the shop work that I need to do before we can head down there. So let's get everything loaded up that we're gonna need. I'm sure I'll forget something, but we'll do our best. I'm gonna try to rest the gate on my pipe stand so that it's easy to just back the New Holland in with the picking arm and lift this thing up and put it on the trailer. Sounds easy, let's hope it is. We've got it looking pretty good right here. I've got this end of the gate a little bit high. You can see on the level, the bubble is right over to the line. And the reason for that is because I know that after I weld this, because there's a little bit of slop in that hinge, the gate's gonna settle a little bit. So if I weld everything up with this end a little bit high, then when it settles, it should be just right. So now my problem is this pin is too long. I need to like tip the gate up to get it in there. Kind of adjusting the plan here. Instead of just trying to hold the gate a little bit high on the hinge or on the latch side, what I'm doing instead is I've got a little spacer here between the hinge and the post that'll give me an 1/8 of an inch gap on the bottom, and then I think that is going to make everything sit level on the top. Oh yeah, the grease makes all the difference. Don't look too close at that stain job. It's really a lot more about function than it is about looks. But with that extra heavy coat of stain, I think I'm gonna call this project done. Now, that's not to say that there aren't a few more little tweaks that I will probably want to do somewhere down the road, but as it sits right now, it's completely functional, and it's a heck of a lot better than what was here before. And now that it's done and I can give it a critical look over, I want to tell you about some of the things that I like and some of the things that I'm not so sure about. First, let's go over the good things, and this list is probably not going to be an all-inclusive list because there are so many things that I like about this, but the main thing is strength and durability. Remember, this oil pipe fence that could probably stop a freight train is replacing these ultra flimsy farm store panels that bend if the wind blows hard enough at them. If you remember over here in the corner previously, I just had one of the farm store panels that I would just kind of drag on the ground to open and close it, acting as a gate. It just wasn't good in many ways. One of those ways being that the panel didn't even come all the way to the barn. So there was a big enough gap for calves to get through, and they often did. Now those problems have been solved. We've got a real gate here. We've got a closed off corner that nothing's gonna get through. So This is making me real happy. Another thing I'm excited about is the fact that I have gone to great lengths on this project to try to eliminate any sort of wasp habitat. And that was an issue with these panels. And you wouldn't think so, but as time goes on and they get broken and they get little holes in them, these had become kind of a haven for wasps. On the new setup, I have either capped all the holes or done miter cuts so that there was never a hole to begin with. That was all done very intentionally to kind of try to fight this battle. Building things this way certainly takes a lot more time, but when it's all said and done, boy, it sure is a lot nicer. And the upgrade that needs no introduction is the table here. I'm so excited about this. Originally, I'd thought of only making the table about 1/3 of the size that you see here, and I'm glad that I decided to go ahead and go with the larger table, because let's face it, if the table would have ended right here, you would have just had a bunch of dead space here that wouldn't have been used for anything. So I may never need a table this big, but if I do, it's right here. So now let's talk a little bit about the things that I'm a little unsure about, or some things that I just plain don't like. And the first one is this gate here. When I put the gate up, I was fully intending on paneling this entire fence so that you wouldn't really be able to see that the pipe pattern was different on this gate. But now I'm just kind of not really feeling like paneling is necessary. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything, but for the time, effort, and expense it would take to do it, I'm just not really sure that I get enough back on that to make it worthwhile. But the gate is perfectly functional, and that's what matters most, so I will get over this. And while we're on the subject of this gate, I almost didn't even put a gate here. That was kind of a last minute design change that I'm really glad I made, because it just makes it so easy to go back and forth from the human area to the cow area. And that's something that I actually end up doing quite a lot while I'm working cows in here. Next little issue that I can see, and it might not be an issue, but we'll really know, I guess, after the first time we run cows through here, but it has to do with this gate. The goal for this gate was for, you know, when it's closed, obviously it's closed right there. It will latch right up against the barn. And then when it's open, it was supposed to swing right up here next to the chute to create an alleyway to bring cattle back into the tub. The first job, it's doing awesome with. But in the open position, it really leaves a bigger gap here than I would like. And I was kind of messing around with this off camera. If I open the head gate on the Arrowquip, it stops that hole. Of course, then the chute's open, but I kind of doubt if you're running cattle back in here that they would like turn and go into the chute backwards. They might, but I kind of doubt it. But like I say, this might not end up being a big deal. I'm not sure that they would even want to try to get in there, but you just never know. With the head gate open, the gap is completely filled. So, you know, we might just kind of, when we're running cows back in here, just make a habit of doing that. And the good thing, there's always a silver lining, is that now when cattle are exiting the chute, I will have the option to either send them out into the big corral, or because of how this gate is set up here, I can have them make a right turn and go back into the little corral. I don't often need them to do that, but sometimes I do, so it'll be nice to have the option. Several people were worried about these gate latches that I made, and they were saying that they thought the cattle could like open these up with their nose and push the gates open. And I don't disagree. That is certainly possible. And I wouldn't use a latch like this in a pasture gate or like a stall or something like that, because I think that's what people are referencing. You hear that a lot, where horses are able to get their stalls open by picking the latches up. But I think the main difference here is that with a stall latch or even a pasture gate latch, the animals are with that latch like all the time, and they have time to mess around with it and figure out ways to get them open. These latches, on the other hand, they're only really going to see them when they're in here getting worked, so they're not going to have time to just sit here and, you know, mess with that latch and try to figure out how to open it. Now, that's not to say that I never keep cattle in this pen, like to hold them for a few days. I do that, and if it's something that I'm worried about, then, you know, I'll probably just throw a chain around this or something as a little bit of insurance. But the other thing that I could do is, since these latches operate off of this bolt, I could just cinch that bolt down, and then they're very difficult to open and close. But I really like these latches in this application. They're quick, they're easy to open and close. Unlike this style of latch, these are strong, but you know, you're having to constantly lubricate them. They get stuck or they get sticky. As far as simplicity and strength, I think these are what I'm going to go with from now on, unless a cow shows me that this is not going to work. Another question that I saw that I did want to address is, why do I spend so much time building this stuff? Why not just go buy it? There are a couple of reasons why I choose to build pretty much all of this stuff. The first and the biggest is that everything needs to be custom. You know, I could go to Arrowquip and buy a bunch of panels, but are they going to fit in between my existing fence and my barn exactly the way that I need them to? Probably not. So I'm either going to buy those panels and then just have to modify them, or I can just build something from the ground up like this. I mean, you think about the removable panel here with the table on it. That's totally custom. You can't buy something like this. And I needed it to end specifically like within an inch of where it's at. So the odds of a company manufacturing something that just so happens to be the perfect length, it's just not very good. I haven't actually added it all up, but just sort of quickly looking at what I've got here, I've probably got about $600 to $700 worth of oil pipe on this project. And if I was to go buy something to put in here, well, $600 or $700 wouldn't get me too far. And as far as the time issue, well, I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, so I don't really feel like it's a poor use of my time because I like doing it. But I know everybody's different. Some people watch me work on this stuff and it probably looks like work. And some people watch me do this stuff and it probably looks like fun. But all in all, I'm really excited about this. I'm super happy with it, and I'm looking forward to using it. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.